Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Mega Man Quintum. Today we're gonna take the bull by the horns, and the problem I'm metaphorizing like that is the pronunciation of his name. Because of course I'm way above any crude jokes, especially in my highbrow Let's Plays, so I'm gonna pronounce him the German way, Uranus it is. His stage is rather good, though unassuming at first glance. It doesn't have any real obvious gimmicks except for the moving platforms we see here, but it does its job fairly well in being just a normal ordinary stage, which is really fun to play. Except for this guy, he's a dickhole. You cannot really hurt him while he's spinning because his fists block attacks and his body deals a tremendous amount of damage when running into him. I hate him. Jupiter's on the other hand a really fucking good weapon. Why? Because it murders shit. It's melee range and you cannot move after you've pushed the button to shoot it, which is kind of drawback. You can however jump and move around in the air, which is kind of nice. But it has the very big advantage in that it will one-hit pretty much every single normal enemy in the game, which is kind of a big advantage, I would say. So yeah, I'm going to exploit it to its fullest in this stage just to show it off and give it a proper workout, because after all, usually I tend to switch around weapons quite a lot. But not against this mini-boss, even though we can totally use it against him. He is kind of an exercise in micromanagement, a really good one also, I think. Mini-boss design rather well done in this game, where you have to look out for the randomly falling blocks above, the position of the platform below, and the movement of the one you need to use to shoot him, which can get a little overwhelming, but I think is a challenge that is completely not overblown or anything, so I really like it. Back to Jupiter Power Hour. You might think that there is something to the left, but there is not. I always get confused. There is another room like that, which is basically just, yeah, these moving platforms, you know, it's there. This bird here, for example, it takes something like 8 shots with a buster, maybe only 6, but it's insane, and Jupiter just deals its damage all the time, and even enemies that are not weak to it just get destroyed. It is great and I love it, and because the screen is so small, for once it works to our advantage in its fullest, and we can just hit them over and over again and just reach them easily. So you can see you can also respawn Eddie in this game, no problem here, but eh. So to show off what this guy does actually. He shoots his ball, and then he usually walks around a little, and well, that's it. And I'm not going to bother with the quarter E tank in the top left corner here. Again, it's a little awkward to move around after you've already shot the Jupiter, but it's better than having to stand still completely, which you do not have to. Yeah. With a little getting used to the weapon is really good. Again, you need Pluto for this here, and it is kind of designed so that you need Pluto for 2 of them and Uranus for 2 of the others, though both Uranus can actually, one Uranus can actually be cheated, as I've already done before. The other one sadly can't, so you need to backtrack as said before. This section here is basically you can run and easily make it in front of the bird if you're not using Jupiter actually, because just jumping is a little too awkward for that, but it doesn't really matter. And contrary to some other places where we've seen a Zappat like this, the extra life is not actually a death threat. I might have forgotten to show off what the birds do. They actually shoot out small birds that follow you around and shoot at you, well, normally from the front. That's it. Kind of a hard enemy actually, unless you abuse super powered weapons, of course. But how cool would do such a thing? So yeah, another one of these, smaller platform now, otherwise the same time to show off its weakness, which is Mars. The problem is hitting him with it. Of course I always have a little trouble positioning Mars correctly, but as you can see it's tremendously effective, which is great. So again, same setup as said, just a little harder this time because you have more opportunities to die, I guess, but it's really not too big of a deal. Like, you really have to struggle to fall down off these platforms and not react at all. But I kind of can see where they're getting at. So again, these guys here total dickholes, but fortunately now we have a weapon that can easily deal with them. And that was the stage. As said, nothing really special about it, but it's these stages that are gimmick free more or less, and still remain favorably in everyone's mind, that are actually the showcase of a really good design in general. This was actually Uranus' weapon. Uranus' weapon, exactly. And you can see a feature he has in that a charge shot will actually only also do 1 damage to him, which is actually something we could have seen before in the Genesis version of the first 3 Mega Man games, the Wily Wars, where there is one boss that has that feature in the extra Wily Tower thing. Also, he's very susceptible to the clobber arm if you can pull it off, I think by now, after a little experimentation. The trick is holding down the button immediately after you've let it go to let the fist fly. That's still a little inconsistent. On the other hand, you can easily bust the Uranus down just by shooting him constantly. You have to watch out for that. Yes, that is an instant kill move he has, but it's telegraphed so heavily that I would say this is easily one of the easier bosses of the second round. If Jupiter weren't around to be a complete and utter pushover, then I would give the honor of easiest boss to Uranus, though I guess you could even damage raise him, so it's a toss-up. Boss design is not the biggest strength. The mini-bosses are far better, I'd say, in Quintum, though they're perfectly serviceable. I'll take an easy boss with a predictable pattern over a complete butthole any day. So done with Uranus now. Next time, not much of his weapon, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for your attention.